Hello, it's Andrew Eborn here again with another edition of the Andrew Eborn Show, and my very special guest is the fabulously talented Barry Cryer. How are you doing, Barry?
I didn't recognise the description. Fabulously talented, good gracious.
Oh, well, I tell you what, last time we had a little gallop through your glorious career, all the early days in Leeds. We talked about the Windmill and the wonderful sort of memories there, and the glorious picture of your mother standing at the back. And when you came home, she said that she liked the suit.
The suit looked nice was her only comment. Don't let him get too big for his boots. And later on, I heard she said to my auntie, so he was very good. You don't say that to me.
I know, and it's one of those sort of moments.
Suit looked nice. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think, as you said last time, I was sort of jogging your memories. We went through this gallop of your career, all those sort of happy memories down there. And I think we worked out that the suit might actually have been donated to you by the Freemasons.
Sorry?
The suit was actually probably given to you by the Freemasons.
I think so. The memories blur now, it's so many years ago, but yeah, the Freemasons were looking after my mother after my dad died. These mysterious men would turn up at the front door. At the time, I had no idea who they were, what that was all about. But, look after your own. And they used to their credit, look after us.
And it's good on that sort of basis, because we always talk about when you've got a glittering career, it's always those sort of moments that you really cherish. And the moments that you were trying to cherish were obviously the fond recognition by your mother of your career.
Yes, I don't know what she really made of it. Show business, what is he doing? She was totally supportive, but I never really knew what she thought. She kept it to herself.
Well, I think you said she told an aunt that, one of your aunts, that she thought you were really rather good.
Yeah, I've just said that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think from that point of view, it's often when they tell the other relatives, I think that's when that sort of happens.
Yeah, that's when they say what they actually thought. But she wasn't even Yorkshire. She was a Cumbrian who married my father.
Right. But
it is a very Yorkshire thing that you're restrained. You don't come out with effusive remarks.
But it's sometimes it's such a strange sort of business. You do need those people who keep you grounded. And looking at your career, we were talking last time about some of the great partnerships that you had. You worked with Frost, you worked with Kenny Everett, but you also worked very closely with John Junkin. Tell me about your relationship with John.
Oh, God. Junkin and I wrote a lot of stuff together. We worked with Eric and Ernie on the big Christmas shows. And of course, the great Eddie Braben was around at the time. I used to annoy Junkin by describing Eddie Braben as the A-team. I thought Eddie was just brilliant. Oh, John and I did a lot of stuff together. We did a radio series called Hello Cheeky with Tim Brooke-Taylor, who we've lost recently. And, oh, yeah.
And you used to bounce off each other, didn't you? I mean, when you were playing Morecambe and Wise, I mean, you would play the straight man. You would play Ernie Wise to Junkin's Morecambe.
Yeah, there's a sitter and a walker. I've talked to quite a few writers through the years. You're in a room. Now it's computerized and everything. In my days, I'd be sitting down scribbling or rattling a typewriter, and John Junkin would be walking around the room twiddling his glasses, being Eric Morecambe. I always said we were like tailors making suits.
And it is
the same routine for two different people, and it would be different. You tailored it to the performer.
And it is interesting, isn't it, when you're doing that sort of role? Did you prefer the role of the straight man?
Yes, I did it quite a lot. Through the years, it seemed a natural role for me. I loved feeding people. Bernard Cribbins and I did it on television in the good old days, the music hall program. I was the straight man, and I just really enjoyed that. I'd be pronouncing pompously to the audience, and he would walk on the stage behind me, sweeping the stage. And I would really have an indignant go at him, and it was a joy working with him. We're still in touch, me and Bernie Cribbins, yeah.
And how's he doing these days?
Sorry?
How's Bernie Cribbins doing these days?
Well, we just laugh and talk on the phone. This quaint old thing that we're doing,
right.
talking on the telephone.
I know.
This text and email age.
It is extraordinary. I always say, Barry, that the more means of communication that there are, the less we're able to communicate.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. This is you and I talking at this moment. A text and an email hasn't got ears or anything. It doesn't know your reaction at that moment, does it?
No, you're absolutely, and you yourself, we touched on this. You're not in. You don't want to play around with Zoom either, do you?
Well, I've been Zooming of late. We're all Zoomed. We did the radio series recently. We did Sorry, I Haven't a Clue.
Yeah, and we spoke about that. And you had the audience all zoomed in, 100 of them, so you get that sort of.
Yeah.
How did you find that as a performing experience?
Chaos. Sammy Toxwick got hysterics. She said it's all fucking chaos. And now, brilliant producer John Naismith, what an edit job he's got to get together, but he really put it together brilliantly. And it's not the perfect thing at all, and you've got a fractional time lag. He said you do a line, pause, and you might get a laugh at that point.
And it is, it's very tricky as well. We do a lot of things with musicians. When you have musicians around the world, the time lag and trying to get everybody playing in sync. Well, firstly, it's impossible. So they all have to record their bits separately.
Yes. Well, Ronnie Golden, an old friend of mine, we did a lot of shows together. Brilliant musician, everything. We tried to record a duet and it didn't work. We couldn't synchronize.
Right. But they must.
You've got to be in the same room doing it for it to work.
No, I absolutely. And every time we've done that, people record their bits separately, which is and then share them.
Yeah.
Which is quite fun. And you, of course, are a massive pop star, having had that #1 in Finland.
It's on my CV. How many people can say that? #1 in Finland. I think they gave away a car with each record.
Hey, I love it. The Purple People Eater. I love it.
Yes, it was written by Chev Woolley, who was a country singer and actor. He was one of the guys who was going to kill Gary Cooper in High Noon.
Right.
But he had this big hit in America, the Purple People Eater, a sort of E.T. extraterrestrial thing. And it was a bit of a hit over here. But I assume, I heard at the time, it wasn't issued in Scandinavia contractually or something. So they pushed out my little English cover version.
Well, not only pushed out, to be #1 in Finland, there's very few people can say that. You and ABBA, basically.
Sorry?
It's just you and ABBA, I think, have been #1 in Finland.
I didn't hear the first bit of this.
Oh, I think it's just you and ABBA have been #1 in Finland.
Oh, ABBA.
Yes.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And talking of partnerships, Tim Brooke-Taylor, who we sadly lost earlier this year. Talk to me about some of your memories with Tim.
Well, Graham Garden, who I've just been speaking to now, Graham always said Tim was one of the audience. The audience identified with Tim. The rest of us were banging about and he'd react or get hysterics or something. And Graham said, yeah, Tim's the one they identify with.
And you need that sort of character as well, don't you? You need somebody who's that cheeky one on behalf of the audience.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I've had phone calls this morning. We've been voted the greatest comedy show. It's delightful, but
Oh, congratulations!
Relative. To be up there with Hancock and the Goon Show, you can't believe what's happening.
Well, I think, I mean, in terms of, we called you a national treasure, in terms of longevity and the various people you've been working with, I mean, the show itself is glorious, isn't it? Who voted for it?
Sorry?
Who voted for the show to be one of the greatest comedy shows ever?
Graham has just pointed out to me, we were two of the judges. Corruption and bias. Couldn't believe it.
Oh, we like, at least there's an honesty about that.
We refrained from saying anything about Clue when we were getting the stuff together as judges. We would have been left out if anybody was talking about, sorry, I'm the Clue, obviously.
Right.
But the new Radio Times, which has just arrived, has a big feature about this poll. I suppose it's light relief in these pandemic days.
Well, I think it's about time we had an election. I think we have to have this disputed, and you could fight it in the courts like Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that'll always be good. So tell me how the show came about in the first place.
Well, Graham and Elodie and Tim and Joe Kendall, the actors, they'd done a show, I'm sorry, I'll read that again. And the BBC wanted a follow-up, and Graham brilliantly devised this show that didn't have a script. It had a running order and items, and we were always given advance notice of topics, but there was no script as such. So if you hear us laughing on it, it's genuine.
Right.
One of us does something and the others find it funny. And yes, it's all down to Graham.
And it is extraordinary. And do you prefer that? I mean, we often talk about just sort of winging it, but there's always, I mean, you've got such a bank of fantastic comedy material anyway, is that there's no such thing as a well-rehearsed ad-lib. Do you manage to weave your merry way through those ad-libs?
Yes, it was just, well, it's chemistry between people. You can't plan that. And we were all mates. We'd all been David Frost writers and all that. There was a gang of us in those days. And you never know what's going to work with people.
Right, and it happens,
if the chemistry's there.
And I think that's, I mean, we talk about the several successful panelist shows. I mean, you had, going back in time, you had Joker's Wild as well, didn't you? Tell me about that.
Well, Joker's Wild was interesting because I was a chairman and it was, based on jokes. And I would hit the panelists with a subject on a card that came out of the little machine. And of course, we'd all talked about it before the show.
Right.
You do this and you do this, and you can interrupt there. But now and again, of course, the best moments were when somebody just interrupted, which wasn't planned at all. There's a marvellous man called Fred Emney, wonderful, bulky, big character. And Jack Douglas, his subject was, the seaside or something.
Right.
And Buzz, and I went, oh, what's that? Interruption by Fred Emney. I thought, oh, we didn't plan this, but it's a lovely moment. And I said, interruption by Fred Emney. And Fred Emney said, is this about the seaside? I said, yes. He said, I live at Bognor Regis. Long pause. Just thought I'd mention it. no joke, nothing at all. But it was a marvelously funny moment because it was, it was sort of relevant, but not remotely funny. I love these moments.
But that's the glory. And as you say, it's the chemistry. People like, when TV shows work, it really is because all the presenters get on well together, isn't it?
Yes. And as we all say, you can insult an old friend.
Yeah.
You don't even bother to insult people you don't like.
Right.
So you abuse each other all the time, and
you clearly, people are suckers for punishments, aren't they? And you're also, I mean, talk to me about the Steam Video Company, another series.
Kenny Everett.
Yeah.
Well, his great love was radio, not television. And he had one or two episodes with Granada and London Weekend Television. He'd done it and hadn't really enjoyed it. But they decided, Thames Television, to have a go with him. And the premise of the show basically was disc jockey on television.
Right.
That was just it. And then Ray Cameron, father of Mike McIntyre, who I'd met on Joker's Wild, we finished up together writing the Kenny Everett show. And there again, the chemistry, we just loved Everett. We got on so well with him. And the bits in between the numbers of the show got longer and longer. It became more of a comedy show with musical guests. And Everett was a joy to work with.
And you didn't just do the series as well, but you also did this horror spoof where Barry Norman was accompanying you on set.
Oh, yes. That was the film we made.
Yeah, 1984, Bloodbath at the House of Death. Yes.
With Vincent Price, no less. Yeah. And Barry Norman, who was doing his film program at the time, came with a film unit, and when we were filming, and showed it on this program, us on location filming and everything. And then on his program, he said, some of you may remember, we watched them making this film, because the film had just come out. And he said, I've just seen the film. Oh dear. That was his review. That was a friend being as kind as he could.
And was that a fair
moment?
Yeah.
It's had its moments, that film, but Ray directed it. Bless him. He shouldn't have directed it. We should have had a good old professional or a brilliant newcomer directing it.
Yeah. It's sometimes the issue, isn't it, when people want to direct their own material and things like that?
Yes. You've hit it precisely. You're too close. You should get somebody else in on it.
And it wasn't your only foray into films either. I mean, you also had a part in the glorious, I used to love it, the Ruttles, the spoof documentary of the Beatles, All You Need Is Cash. How did that come about?
Well, that was Neil Innes, who we've lost as well subsequently. And I played Dick Cash, I think, based on Dick James.
Yes.
Who was associated with the Beatles and everything. And Neil Innes created this brilliant world of the Ruttles, which originates from the Rutland Weekend Television and all that.
Right.
Eric Idle at the bottom of it all, obviously, and Neil Innes to do with the music. And there again, that was just the chemistry, people getting together, and it worked.
And you're right. I mean, the chemistry really shows on screen. You can tell that we're sort of witnessing just people having a load of fun.
Oh, yeah, it was enjoyable to do. John Junkin was furious I got the part.
Oh,
for some reason, I was supposed to be bald.
Oh, is that right?
I got made up and bald wig and everything. He said, I could have done it. They wouldn't even have to do that.
Hey, it's got to be good. And it's those wonderful partnerships that punctuate your career. I'm working with Willie Rushton. Talk to me about that.
Oh, well, Will and I, that was the birth of Sorry I'm the Clue. And the gang, Bill Oddie and Joe Kendall and John Cleese, came to do Sorry I'm the Clue, because it was based on I'm Sorry I'll Read That Again, which they did. And they decided that they didn't enjoy this at all. There was no script. And they left. And panic stations, and Willie Rushton and I were drafted in.
And you did, I mean, in addition to doing the TV stuff, you did a tour as well, Two Old Farts in the Night.
Yes, yeah. Will's idea, the title.
And is there a particular format that you enjoyed? Do you prefer being on the radio, the television, the live, or is it the combination of everything? So work on that sort of basis. But you wrote your own autobiography, and I presume that was all your own writing. Is there anything you left out?
Sorry? Sorry?
Is there anything you left out of your autobiography?
Oh, it must have been.
Well, there's some bits. There are some bits that people never want, apart from where you got your suit and things like that. I think you assumed that was those were the Freemasons in those stage. Are there any bits that you wish you'd put in which weren't quite in there this time?
No. Looking back, don't think so.
Because you often find that a lot of people find more than one autobiography in them. People seem to populate. I can't remember who's the youngest person who wrote their autobiography.
Well, I did 3.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're all about somebody else, mainly.
Right.
My then agent, Emma, when I did the first one, well, she read the proofs, she said, "Where are you in this?
Right.
It's about other people all the time. Get yourself in there somewhere."
And I think you have that sort of honesty when you talk about the first farewell tour.
Oh, yeah. I do enjoy working with him doing this, but I'm tired out again.
Oh, well, that's okay. We love these moments because we can drip feed into this, the series that will keep on going. And I think this is the secret to long success. Barry, it's a real joy. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Take care. We'll speak next time. Bye-bye. And there you have it, the wonderful Barry Cryer joining me again for a little glimpse into his fantastic showbiz life and his many autobiographies. We'll get him back on the show in the not too distant future. But for now, I've been Andrew Eborn. Thank you so much for being my wonderful audience at home. And don't forget, if you subscribe to Octopus TV on YouTube and all of the usual channels, there'll be much, much more of the same. But for me, Andrew Eborn, to you, thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.